is being recorded.
Yeah, so this meeting is being recorded as a reminder for everyone. And people can put their questions into chat, and we'll be able to answer questions. So most of the presentation in just a few minutes, I'll be introducing Ann Osborne, who is the CalABLE Deputy Executive Director. And she's been with CalABLE all the way since September 2019. And as many of you know, CalABLE is now using the TrueLink cards, which is something we've been using for many years for our clients. And we're big fans of TrueLink, so I'm glad that change has taken place. So I see Ann has appeared. So I'll go ahead and introduce you, Ann, and then I'll ask everybody to mute themselves so there's no ambient audio, and we will have a chance for you to ask questions, and you can also type your questions into chat. So Ann Osborne leads the Outreach and Education Department at CalABLE. She's worked with the disability community as a volunteer coordinator at a local equine therapeutic riding facility for children with neurological impairments, and she also has a nephew with autism. And I know my son has done what they call hippotherapy, and it's truly a marvelous thing to see that human-animal connection. And Ann really knows the most about how the program can have such a positive impact on the lives of people with disabilities and their families. So without further ado, Ann, I'd like to turn over today's presentation to you. And I'll be here in the background in case any questions come up about Special Needs Trust.
Perfect. Well, Michelle, thank you so much. Always a pleasure to speak to your group. I was just thinking, you know, the last time I was down there was right before the pandemic started. Dante and I were down there. I was two months into the program, so I was a babe then, but I think I've grown a little bit. So let me go ahead and share my screen. Okay. All right, perfect. So I'm not sure where everybody is there at JLA. I know you guys promote us all the time, so I do really appreciate that. So before I begin, I just want to cue up a little video here, just talking about the program.
Hi, I'm Jemai, and I'm on a journey to financial wellness. I know that journey could be tougher for people living with disabilities like me. But I have a life hack for you that's going to help you on your financial journey. Get a CalABLE account. Everyone always wants to know, what can you spend your money on? You can spend money on essentials and other qualifying items and experiences that help you live your best life. Housing, medical needs, education, experiences, travel, technology, and adaptive items are just a few of the ways you can use the money in your CalABLE account. For me, that is assistive technology like alert systems, phone call captions, and a laptop for school.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Jemai.
Okay, there we go. So I don't think I'm speaking to people that don't know, but if you don't have a disability, you really should know about CalABLE. It is a program out there to help people save money, and that is really important in today's world. So what is CalABLE? CalABLE is a tax advantage savings and investment program designed to help people with disabilities achieve their financial dreams. And I think that that's a priority for all of us. Just a little history about CalABLE. We are actually part of the federal law that was signed in 2014, which stands for Achieving a Better Life Experience. And that's where ABLE comes from. California has been around. We brought on the program. We launched it in December 2018. So we're just about a little over 5 years old now. As Michelle mentioned, I started with CalABLE in 2019. So it's really grown since I've been around. We right now have over 11,000 account holders with 140 million in assets under management. So as we know, having a disability is expensive. There are a lot of extra costs that people have to pay for, medical treatments, accessible housing, assistive care, equipment, and there's just a lot of different expenses that you have to pay for. I was actually tabling at an event on Saturday, and talking to a parent who had a CalABLE account, and they said they use their CalABLE account for a humidifier, and that was something I had never heard of. But as we just hearing that, with this statistic showing us 29% costs more, 29% more than for somebody who doesn't have a disability, really kind of puts everything in perspective, that some things that we think are pretty run-of-the-mill may not be that way for somebody else. So it is really important that we have these accounts. Anybody who's on means tested benefits, they have that $2,000 cap that they cannot go over. And if you have a CalABLE account, that's one of the big reasons for somebody on means tested benefits to open an account, is because you can save above that $2,000 resource. You can actually save up to $100,000 and still maintain your SSI. So it's really important that we get this information out and we let people know that they don't have to have it under the mattress anymore, that they can put it someplace safe and secure. CalABLE is administered by the state of California. We are actually chaired by the state treasurer. I did mention that we have over 140 million assets under management. We have 11,000 people currently who are account holders. And right now, the eligibility is before having the disability before age 26. However, starting in 2026, that is actually going to increase to age 46. So, Michelle, you may have been around when we were talking about age adjustment, and that did pass in December of 2022, and it's effective in 2026. So we're really excited about that, giving this opportunity to more people. These are the questions I'm going to be answering today. The first question is, who is eligible? And the second question is, how much can I save? The big question I always get asked is, how do I spend my money? How to open an account? How do I maximize the account? And then why you should choose CalABLE. So let's look at some of these questions. As I mentioned just a moment ago, again, that disability must have occurred before age 26. If you currently are on SSI or SSDI, as long as that disability began before age 26, you're automatically eligible. If you are not receiving benefits, if your disability is in the Social Security Administration list of compassionate allowances or the Blue Book listing, you are eligible to open an account. What you would need is you would need to have a letter signed by a physician, and we actually do have a sample letter on our website that you could take to a physician. And they could, fill it in and complete it for you. And that basically is, the physician is basically confirming that your disability began before age 26. The reason that's important is because, as I mentioned, this is part of the federal law, It was part of the law that was passed in 2014. So CalABLE isn't the one that's going to be reviewing these accounts. It would be the Internal Revenues Service that would be reviewing these accounts. So that's why we recommend that you have this letter on file. CalABLE is not going to ask you for it when you are signing up to open your account, but we do ask that you keep this on file. It's just a good information piece. So how much can you save? Currently, this year's cap 2024 is $18,000. So that is January through December. You can put up to $18,000 in your CalABLE account. This has grown over the years. When I first started, it was 15,000, and now we're up to 18,000. So this seems to go up every year. This is tied to the gift tax code. But we still are at that $100,000. That is how much you can have in your account if you want to maintain your benefits. The account can continue to grow, but once you reach $100,000, at that point, you would need to do a spend down if you still needed to keep your benefits. If you're not, if you do not need to have benefits, and I know that's a goal of a lot of our account holders, is that they can become self-sufficient and independent. If that is your goal, or that works in your financial plan, you can actually contribute up to $529,000. At that point, your account would continue to grow in earnings, but as far as the contributions, you would not be able to make any additional contributions once you've contributed $529,000. If you are pushing up against these limits, we do track those limits, especially that annual contribution, or right now at the midway point of the year. So if you've put up to, let's say, $17,000 in there, we're going to let you know that you are close, and we do track that. If you if somebody is trying to make a deposit on your behalf, and you've already reached that contribution limit, we would not be able to accept that contribution. So this is one of our account holders, Valerie. She is actually using her account. She does reoccurring contributions. She puts $50 every month in her account. She has a service dog, and she knows that that service dog will retire eventually. So she is planning for the future by putting money into her account. She's a super neat lady. I actually had the opportunity to meet her, and really happy that she is part of our team. Another way you can contribute is, in addition to that $18,000, is through the Able to Work program. And what this allows, it allows people that are working to put money into their ABLE accounts. They can put up to $14,580. And the way that is tracked through your contributions is there is a general contribution. It's that $18,000 cap. And then there's another bucket that says Able to Work contributions. So if you're working, you can, and your wages are going in, you can select that button, and then you can put in your wages. If you were to maximize both maximum contributions, you could potentially save up to $32,000. So this is a way that you can reach that $100,000 pretty quickly if you were maximizing both revenue streams. What can I spend my money on? This is always my favorite question. And you can actually spend it on anything that is related to your health, your independence, or quality of life. And earlier I gave the example of somebody who said they used their money on purchasing a humidifier for their child. Did that improve their quality of life? Absolutely. What about their health? Yep. It only has to be one of these items. It doesn't have to be all three of them, but these are also some categories. If you are familiar with the PALMS, that's the Social Security's book of that they published, they have these different categories, and they're very general, because if you were to try to have a list of anything that was related to your health, independence, or quality of life, I don't think you can list all the items. So what we have here is just some different categories for you to review, but it's not limited to these. So education, if you're going to school, tuition costs, maybe there's some tutoring costs, books, anything of those nature. If you're using transportation to go to school, maybe you're using public transportation, maybe you're using rideshare, anything that's tied to these, you would definitely be able to use your ABLE account. And just looking at all the other categories, you know, the one that people don't like to talk about is that funeral and burial costs. And absolutely, if somebody had a CalABLE account and they were not, and they passed away, they still had some outstanding items that are eligible, they can definitely use their CalABLE account for that. So there are just a lot of different things. My favorite category is the and more. We just talked about the one example of a humidifier, but food, if you have people that are wanting to go buy groceries, or maybe they want to go have coffee with their friends, or maybe they want to go to the movies, that's in that and more category. And actually, that's really where that prepaid card comes in. I will talk a little bit about that. You guys are familiar with TrueLink, but this is really a place that we can see how these expenses, that and more category, we see that being tracked in that with the prepaid card using TrueLink. So there are a lot of things that you can use this for. So it's not limited. The only thing you really can't use it for is we talk about gift giving. Again, if you think about the person giving the gift, they may feel good about it, but it's really the end user. If the end user is not a CalABLE account holder, then it's not, you know, this definition of improving their health, independence, or quality of life, that would not apply to the person that's receiving the gift. The other item that we recommend is not using it for is for something that would be illegal. So as long as you aren't using it for either one of those items, you're pretty safe. Again, CalABLE is not going to ask you for receipts. We are not monitoring your account. As you know, we are part of the federal tax code. We are a 529A program is where we fall in that tax code. So again, we are not going to be asking the questions. It's going to be somebody that would be coming on behalf of the IRS. And sometimes we see these items being asked at Social Security. They may be looking at your CalABLE account if they are reviewing it for recertification. So that's about the only time we've heard people being asked about their spending with the CalABLE account. This is a parent, Cheryl. She's actually one of our account holders, and she uses her account for horseback riding, music therapy, art therapy. Michelle, you talked about your son getting the hippotherapy, and yes, it is truly amazing what accomplishments these kids make. When I was a volunteer coordinator and I saw, you know, the improvements of these kids just riding those horses, you know, physical and audio and mental. I mean, there definitely is benefits to that. So fortunate that I was able to witness that. So how do you open an account? It's really pretty simple. A couple things you need to know is that the participant is the only one that can have the CalABLE account. So if you are a parent and you're managing this for your child, it is their money, but until they are able to manage their own affairs, you are going to be managing it on their behalf. Next point says here, the person with the disability is the account owner, and that is exactly how these are set up. You know, they are the ones that are managing their funds. And if somebody is managing the funds for this person, they are what we call an authorized legal representative. And that is somebody that would have power of attorney, a legal guardian or conservator. They can be a spouse, a parent, a sibling, a grandparent, They could be a rep payee at one of the regional centers that could be opening this. And then the other way is account owner can say, I would like so-and-so to open my account, manage my account for me. So there are many different ways the account representative can be used here. And this, I think, is really a benefit to the CalABLE. When these accounts were first set up, there were only 3 people that could do it. So this has really made it, I think, a lot more user-friendly. Not going to talk a lot a bit about special needs trust in CalABLE, but we do have a slide that will talk a little bit more about this. Our accounts are all online. So you would go to the calable.ca.gov website, and then where it says open an account, you would go there and then you would start opening an account. When you do open an account, you do want to make sure you have your documents. You want to make sure you have your driver's license, your social security number. And I believe there might be another item they ask for verification, but you just want to make sure that you have those items available. So when you need to upload those documents, you can upload them. So it's really, I have not personally opened an account, but I do know people who have, and they have told me it takes about 20 minutes. So if you have everything you need, it's a really pretty simple process. So the next question we always get asked is, how do I maximize my CalABLE account? And we really see these accounts working 3 different ways. You can save your money, and as that money is growing over time, it's growing, it's going to increase and increase the fund. And then we already talked about spending. So we really see these accounts being used 3 different ways. I showed you the example of Valerie, who is setting up those reoccurring contributions. This is something you can do very simple. You can link it to your bank account. And if you are putting money in there, or maybe you have family members who want to put money in every month, they can set it up as a reoccurring contribution, and it can just automatically go into your CalABLE account. The other way you can do it, and this is something that just recently became available, is you can have those Social Security checks actually automatically deposit into the CalABLE account. It would be the entire check can go in. Social Security cannot only do part in your CalABLE and part in your regular checking account. It would all need to go into the CalABLE account. At that point, it does make it, we have been told, especially by authorized legal representatives, as they're trying to manage those monthly finances, especially staying within that $2,000 resource, having everything in the CalABLE. If they, if that account goes over, they're not in jeopardy of losing their benefits. So it is a nice way to kind of, if that's something that you're always having to manage, making sure you're staying within those resource limits, having it in the CalABLE account does make that a little bit easier. Again, just linking it to your regular checking account, transferring the funds, so you won't go over that resource limit. So that's a nice benefit to have there. If you're working, you can also have it put direct deposit. You can link it to your CalABLE account, and that one, if you want to just do $50 a month out of your check, or if there's a percentage you're comfortable with, you can just have that directly put into your CalABLE account. I don't know if you're like me, but when they take money out and it's, I don't even know it's coming out. I'm always looking at what the net amount of my check is. So if I don't see it, I just kind of forget that it's growing over there in those investment accounts. So kind of a nice little easy way to do that and not feel like you're making an impact, but you don't feel like you're losing too much. The last way you can always put money in is if you physically wanted to mail a check into our PO box. This is a nice feature that we have. And this is something you would do as you're setting up that CalABLE account, is what you can set up is an e-gift. And this works just like very similar to a GoFundMe. If you had a savings goal that you were looking at. With June here, a lot of high school graduations or college graduations or
No, you
other
have to unmute
graduations.
yourself
Um,
because it says
this would be a great tool to have. Set this link up, and then you can share this with family and friends, and they can just put money into the CalABLE account. They don't need to call you and ask you. You just share the link, and they can do it. And it's not just graduation. If you think about birthdays or any other special event, a celebration, it doesn't have to be from school. It can just be, you accomplished something, and maybe that accomplishment, your family says, that was a great thing that you accomplished, and I'm just going to put some money in here. We also have an ambassador who's been going to college, and his parents set this up for him, and it's a way for his family members and friends to put money in his account. As we can think back of our college days, we always were happy if we had an extra $20 maybe to go to the movies or do something fun. So this is just a nice way of giving somebody an additional financial independence. And we always like that, promote that. Talking about this e-gifting is Hector. He actually had a goal, and that was to purchase a 2-bedroom mobile home for himself and his mom. And so he set up this e-gifting feature for his CalABLE, got all these gifts, and was able to actually put a down payment on a 2-bedroom, 2-bath mobile home for himself and his mom. So, anything's possible, and it's just, what is important to you, what is your goal, and this is how you can accomplish it through the CalABLE account. We do have our money invested. It's invested by Vestville State Savings is our program administrator, and they work with Fidelity, Charles Schwab, and Vanguard. These accounts do have the potential to grow tax-free, and if you let them continue to grow over time, with those compound earnings, you can increase those account balances. So these are the different portfolios we have. If some of you have been with us since the beginning, you may notice that we have a few more options. So when we did make the conversion in last August, when we converted, we picked up 4 more portfolios. We still have the FDIC insured portfolio, where we see a lot of those, a lot of early savings, people who are not used to saving. This is a great place for them to start those saving habits. Then you can move down the income portfolio. That's going to be your bonds and your money market securities. And then we move into those stocks and bond, different type portfolio options. Conservative at the right below income portfolio, 20% stocks, 80% bonds. Then you go down to the very bottom, which is the growth portfolio, which is all stock. So really depending on your level of risk, what your savings goals are. Again, as I said, I was out tabling at an event Saturday. A lot of young families, and a lot of them were, considering that growth option just because their children were young and they were looking for long term. So really, it's dependent on what you have, what your plans are. On the CalABLE.ca.gov website, if you go to the investment tab, you can go there and it will show you all the different the historical performance of these portfolios, and also it will show you how these mutual funds and the percentage there in all these different portfolios. So they're quite diverse, and so it's really a time for you to look at those options. I do at the end, and I will send this to you, Alexandra, I do have some additional resources in addition to the slideshow. We just recorded a financial portfolio where it kind of talks a little bit about these options, talks about your level of risk. So I will leave that to our experts at Vestville to share that video, those videos with you. They're all on our YouTube channel, so you can always access those. Tyler here, he was actually one of our first account holders, and his mom basically did this. She's been saving for his medical and living expenses, and so she's been investing money in these different portfolios. The other thing I forgot to mention is that you can change these portfolios twice a year in those options. So if you start off in one and you're not exactly excited about how it's performing, you can always move to another one. And you can also divide them up. So you can do like a percentage in FDIC insured and another percentage in one of those other portfolios. I am going to discuss here briefly the fees that are associated with the accounts. We do have we have an account maintenance fee. It's $30. This is an annual fee. So you're only going to be charged this fee once. So if you do decide to put money in FDIC insured and money in investment portfolios, you're only going to be charged an annual maintenance fee of $30. And this is going to come out every quarter. This example is if you have $30 in your account, if you have $3,000 in your account, if you were just to be using the FDIC insured portfolio, you have that account maintenance fee plus the state administrative fee of a total of $38. That's an annual fee that you would be paying if you had $3,000 in your CalABLE account. If you selected the investment portfolio, you're going to have some additional fees. As you can see here, those fees range. There's the underlying investment fee and the program management fee. So your annual account fee on an annual basis, if you had $3,000, it's going to be between $42 and $46. It really depends on what options you selected. So you would see on a quarterly basis anywhere between $9 to probably $12 coming out of your account every quarter. Relatively low. If you were to compare us with other ABLE accounts in the nation, our fees are probably one of on the very low side. If you wanted a paper statement, that's going to be an annual fee of $10. Again, that would be just combined with whatever you are paying. You would see that $10, and then that would come out proportionally in the quarterly quarterly withdrawals that would be taken out of your account. Now I talked about prepaid card and with TrueLink, and as Michelle said, you guys are familiar with this. And what's really nice about the prepaid card is you select this when you are signing up for CalABLE. If you're an account holder and you're the beneficiary, you're managing your own account, great way for you to just maybe pull some money out and just only have access to that particular amount. So if you were to pull $100 out of your CalABLE account every month, and you were going to go, you could use it for whatever you wanted to use it for. You want to have coffee, you want to go I don't know what else. You might want to go buy something. Maybe you're going to go buy something on Amazon, or you like to stream, or whatever you want to use this for. That's your money. You can use it through the prepaid card. The only thing you can't do with the prepaid card is you can't pull out cash. The nice thing again with the prepaid card is you can actually take pictures of your receipts and upload them. It's got a nice way for you to track your expenses, so you can really see how you're spending your money. Authorized legal representatives, you also have a card if you need to make purchases for the beneficiary. There are no additional fees with the prepaid card, so it's just a nice way for you to access your money. If you're an authorized legal representative and you don't always want to have your beneficiary coming to you and asking you for, can I have $10 for this or $5 for this? This is a great way to just give them some of that financial freedom here. Get that prepaid card, let them have it, but then they would not have full access to money in the account. So it's a great tool just to have and really use used for whatever you need to use it for. Why choose CalABLE? Oops, before I go there, okay. Let's see here. Okay, let's do this and we'll go back. I'm sorry. We talked about how you can save for your future. Your benefits are protected. If you're on SSI, you can put money in your CalABLE account and still keep your benefits. If you're receiving Medi-Cal and then you pass away, your account is protected as long as you're here in the state of California and you're a resident. With the CalABLE account, Medi-Cal cannot do a clawback on your account. Your family and friends can contribute. We talked about that. Talked about growing tax-free. Talked about that you can spend it on anything that is related to your health and independence and quality of life. We talked about those issues. And, you know, that we really do encourage everyone to be part of our community. Let's go back here. I do know that you guys have special needs trusts there at JLA, and we really see CalABLE being that partner with the special needs trust. So we just did kind of a little comparison here. As I mentioned, it only takes about 20 minutes to open these accounts. Again, if you're working with somebody there at JLA, it's going to take you a little bit longer. You need to work with the attorney. The individual as that's the big difference with these accounts is, again, you are the owner of the account. You don't need to go to the trustee and ask them for permission to spend money. You can make those decisions yourself. I just heard this, correct me if I'm wrong, Michelle, but I do believe that you can use special needs trust for purchases of food.
That's changing as of October 1st, 2024. So yeah, a very important positive change. And
Yeah.
just with a pool trust, you do not need an attorney to create the trust. That we have a master trust. So
Okay.
that eliminates having to go through an attorney.
Thank you. I wasn't familiar with that. I am not a special needs trust attorney. That's why we work with Michelle, and that's why we're here. But we really just see this more as a partnership. And you know, I think, Michelle, do you want to add anything else to that?
Yeah, a lot of people look at CalABLE accounts as, money in, money out, especially if you're working and earning a good wage. And then the third party special needs trust can be kind of like like an investment nest egg for later on in life.
Right.
So there's a lot of ways that they complement each other.
Yes, yes. And I did mention about the Medi-Cal, that if you are a resident of California and you have a CalABLE account, that we actually have that signed into law that Medi-Cal cannot seek that recovery against your account. So a lot of good reasons to have CalABLE, and especially using it with that special needs trust. We talked about that. So if you want to open a CalABLE account, you would go again to the calable.ca.gov website. If you need any assistance as you're going through the portal, you can certainly reach out to our call center, and that number is 833-CalABLE or 833-225-2253. They're actually open between 6 a.m. and 5 p.m. So we have a little bit, our hours are expanded a little bit more than previously. And they're there to give you all the support that you need. You get stuck, can't upload a document, and you just, the only thing they can't do, and unfortunately I can't do that either, is answer where I should invest my money. We cannot provide that financial information, as far as what financial resource would be good for you. That's something that we have those resources available for you. As we talk about resources, our YouTube channel has a lot of information. Michelle, I'm sure you're pretty familiar with it, but we have a tips and tricks video there that really, it's kind of long, but it actually takes you through screen by screen by screen on how to complete opening up an account. We have a special needs trust webinar on there. We also have a webinar on qualified disability expenses. We just did a webinar in April with Medi-Cal. So a lot of those questions, since they made a lot of revisions to Medi-Cal, we brought them on because they are the experts. And this month, we are partnering with Social Security. So they will actually be on our webinar this month. So we like to have a lot of resources out there for you, really to just help you become informed. It's really, it's your money, it's your decision. So we want you to have as much information as we can provide so you can make those choices. And, you know, we talk about it only being 20 minutes. And really it's 20 minutes if you know exactly what you want, you know, those choices that you want to make. So I would encourage you to look at those investment portfolio options and educate yourself on what you would like to, you know, which option would work best for you. So when you actually do decide to go in and open that CalABLE account, it won't take you a lot of time because you'll know exactly what you want to do. We have printed materials. Michelle, if you would like us to mail some to your office to have there as a resource, we can certainly send you some of our brochures. We have them in English.
Yeah,
and
that would be great. That would be great.
Okay. So just send me a note in the chat or respond to the email when I send you that. Tell me how many you want. We can certainly get those down to you. We also are quite active on our social media channels on X, Instagram, and Facebook, and also on LinkedIn. So we try really hard to make sure we're out there and present to you. This is our disclosure. Again, we are, you know, we do have a portfolio. There is some risk involved. So we do want to share that with you. And this is our team. Michelle, you had the pleasure of meeting Dante before he moved to the federal government. So our new executive director is Thomas Martin. He actually comes to us from the Department of Veterans Affairs, and Thomas actually has autism, and Thomas has 2 boys that have autism. So it's really nice that we actually have somebody who understands a lot what our parents are going through and our account holders. So that's great that we have him on board. Myself, I'm Ann Osborne. I'm the Deputy Executive Director. I've been with CalABLE since 2019. We had 2,000 accounts and now we're up to 11,000. So it's been really fun to see how this program has grown over the years. Madeline Handy is one of our outreach specialists, and I believe you met, if not, Vivi was on before I got here, but Maria Sandoval is actually our Spanish specialist. So if you have people that would like a Spanish presentation, Michelle, Maria is definitely available if you want her to come on and do that.
Yeah,
We also
great.
did record a Spanish CalABLE 101. So we do have that on our website as well as a resource. And that is it. So I will stop sharing and answer any questions that may have come up during the presentation.
We have quite a few. I actually do think the first one might be a little more of a Michelle question, although the rest of these are all you, Anne.
Okay.
Should the special needs trust include specific language to allow funds to be transferred from a special needs trust to the CalABLE account?
I don't think you have to include that, but if that's really the intention of the settler, then it doesn't hurt to include that. You know what the lawyers say, if it's not in writing, then it doesn't exist. So if it's, you know, if it's a good thought in your head, but it's not in writing, then it may not get executed. So it's not a bad idea to include it.
Right. Michelle, have you had any problems with people transferring money from special needs trust into CalABLE?
No, no problems at all. Yeah.
Okay.
We talked already about what funds in a CalABLE account can be used for. Should I have SSI direct deposited into the CalABLE account?
This is something new that we just started providing. This was passed with the final regs that Social Security finally passed. I mean, no, I'm sorry, that the IRS finally passed. So we made this available in 2022, but really came to fruition when we did the change with Beswell. The only thing I would caution you, and this kind of came up, depending how the money is coming in, if you have multiple sources, let's say you have SSI coming in and maybe SSDI coming in, although SSDI is not held to that $2,000 threshold. But if you have multiple sources and you think you might come up close to that $18,000 limit, that's something that you're going to have to monitor, because if you think you're going to get close, you may want to not have one of those Social Security checks deposited into the account. Because if the account won't accept it, it'll go straight back to Social Security, and that's something you probably don't want to have happen, just because we know how it can be a little challenging getting money back from Social Security. So that would be something I would just monitor as those funds are coming in.
Does CalABLE work like a bank where you get a card to make deposits and withdrawals at banks' ATMs? This is the true.
So we are not a bank. So you really want to do that linkage if you really are going to do, if you have a lot of things that you're taking out of the account, you may want to link it, but also that's why that prepaid card is really nice. You can just put money onto that prepaid card and you have basically immediate access to your funds.
Does the $100,000 cap apply for SSDI benefits as well?
No, not for SSDI, only SSI.
What if the account holder has children and spends for a family trip, or for a child to learn a new skill or join a sports team?
Yeah, they can certainly use it. Does that help to improve their health, their independence, or quality of life? If they're going to be, I'm sure being on sports is going to improve your health, right? You're going to get some exercise. Family trip, yeah.
No, but Anne, the question is, if the beneficiary has a child, can you use CalABLE for your own children, or can it only be used for the account holder?
It's only for the account holder, for the beneficiary.
Yeah,
so
I just want to make that really clear. You can't use it for other family members. Money in a CalABLE account is only for the beneficiary. Same with a special needs trust. Yeah.
Right.
This question is, I give money to my daughter's CalABLE account and she puts in her Schwab checking account. The total process takes at least a month. Is there a way to do it in case she needs to spend the money more quickly to speed up that process?
Then that's when I would get that prepaid card. I would put money on the prepaid card, and then she has immediate access to that.
What is the average cost for the management of expense? I'm not sure about that question.
Well, I'll just say this. There is that annual maintenance fee of $30. That's an annual maintenance fee. So you're always going to pay that. And then depending upon the balance of the account and depending on, what you've selected, if you're just FDIC insured, you would have, an additional, the account, that $30 account maintenance fee, that annual fee, then then whatever other fees are assigned to that particular account based on the balance. And those come out every quarter. Those are the only fees that you're going to be paying for. There's not any fees to use a prepaid card. There's no fees to transfer money back and forth. So it's really just the account maintenance fee and those other fees that we talked about. And that's an annual fee. So again, that comes out every quarter. So you would see it in March, June, September, and December. You'd see those fees coming out.
Can you transfer from another state's ABLE account?
Yes, so those are what we call rollovers. So if you have an ABLE account in another state and you want to transfer it to CalABLE, very simple. You just go online, there's a rollover form. And if you need additional assistance, reach out to our call center. If you have a 529 college savings plan and you want to roll that over, you can do that. And what's nice about that is, as you see, you have a lot more flexibility with the CalABLE account. College savings, it's only for that particular educational or vocational expense. With the CalABLE, you can spend it basically on anything. So it does give you a lot more flexibility as far as that. The other thing is you can take the money out whenever you need it. With 529, you can only use it when the person is going to college. You can't pull it out early. So there are a lot of nice benefits with having the CalABLE account because you do have that additional flexibility. So rollovers are very, very easy to do.
Does the money in the account earn interest? That's portfolio dependent, right?
Yes, yes. Right now, I think FDIC is around 2%.
This person is curious about the investment options. She says, when I looked into it, there were so many options, and even though I tried the low risk, I lost some money. So I would like some clarity and guidance on the CalABLE investment options.
Let me just do this real quick. Let me share my screen real quick here. Everyone see this?
Yep.
Okay, so this is what you would see when you go into the investment portfolio tab. So this is the CalABLE and this is the investment options. And as you scroll down, this here tells you this is the income portfolio, and then all these different funds make up this particular portfolio. And so we have that across the board for all the different options. And then as you scroll down further, you're going to see this view historical performance. And then this is as of the end of May. It's updated on a monthly basis. And you're going to see historically how they've performed. The ones that don't have as long a performance, or these are the ones that are new that came in when we went with Bestwell. And then the ones that are longer are the ones that we had originally. So right now, just looking historically since inception, all the portfolios are in the positive. So this is going to, again, depending on how the market rate is doing, we see ups and we see downs. So year to date, this income portfolio had a little bit of if we look, that one dipped a little bit, but all these are performing in the positive right now. Again, this is why we, talk about risk, what are your goals? Right now, FDIC is at 2.2%. 2.2%, so that's what you're getting the return on the FDIC insured. So unfortunately, I am not able to give a lot of this advice, but let me put that here. So right now we have, so if you were to look down, we have maximizing tips. This is how you would open your CalABLE account. Our ambassadors are here. Wait, this is it right here. The savings and investment options. We have a video right here that's 4 minutes that you could review on that. We should have. Oh, this is, yeah, and basics of savings and investing. So we have that little video, and that's about 2 minutes, I think. So we have these 2 videos available for you to review. So that hopefully that would help. But again, they are going to, go up and down.
It's pretty usual with
Yeah.
any investment option.
Yeah.
Always gonna have some downtime. So HUD Section 8 is going to start enforcing a rule that will limit assets of residents to $50,000 to $100,000, depending on what it is. Are CalABLE accounts exempt from countable assets?
Yes, we are, and we actually, on that CalABLE website, there is actually in the resource tab, there is a letter from HUD that says that the CalABLE accounts do not count as a resource. But I have, we had HUD on a webinar back in 2021, and I actually need to reach back out to him because I'm starting to get quite a few questions about HUD. So I'm going to see if we can get them back on to do a webinar, because it seems to be a topic that we're getting a lot of questions on.
Yeah, they changed the new HUTMA rules. So irrevocable trusts are exempt, like a special needs trust, but it's not clear about CalABLE or the ABLE accounts in general. Yeah.
Michelle, do you have a contact at HUD?
No, I just have I'm on a lot of webinars about it. I can send you what I have. That's pretty helpful.
Okay, because I had a contact. I haven't spoken to this person, so I'm not sure if they're still there, but I'm gonna go there, but I was just wondering if you had one.
If the beneficiary dies and money is still in the CalABLE account, what happens to the remaining funds?
So the money in the CalABLE account, it basically, if they have a trust, it's gonna go in their trust, or it's up to 185,000. Is that correct, Michelle, for probate?
That's my understanding, yes.
Yeah, yeah. So it's exempt from Medi-Cal doing anything. They can use that money in their CalABLE account. As I said, if there's funeral burial expenses outstanding, they can use it for that. If they have any other bills that would qualify, they can certainly use their account for anything related. Again, it would have been their health, independence, or quality of life. So any outstanding bills that they may have, they can use their CalABLE account. So it's in the account until the appropriate action is taken. So if there was a sibling that was eligible for a CalABLE account, they could roll that right over into their siblings CalABLE account. If it's going to go to people that are not eligible for CalABLE, then it would be just a taxable event like any other inheritance at that point. So it really depends on the direction of the person.
Is there a minimum amount needed to open a CalABLE account?
$25 will open your CalABLE account. And it's basically a deposit that you're putting in. Although I would encourage you to put in another $25 probably 3 to 6 months after you open it. Again, there is that, account maintenance fee of $30. So you're going to need to put a little more money in there once it's open, but you can put a minimum of, I think, even $5 you can put in on a monthly basis if that's what works for you. But $25 is what you would need to at least open the account.
Can a letter of authorization of disability be written by a dentist?
You know, it's final regs say a qualified physician. So Michelle, would you?
I don't think so, to be honest. I don't think so.
Yeah, they're pretty clear on a qualified physician.
Yeah, I don't think a dentist would qualify.
Yeah.
This is actually a comment on a previous question. I'm just going down the list in chronological order, but Jen Skidmore added, as a professional, when you're talking about whether you need to clarify what in a special needs trust, that you can move funds over to a CalABLE account, that it falls under trustee discretion. So trustee discretion may not be the same as your discretion, so always include the language for what is an acceptable use of funds. So for SSDI benefit recipients, the total applicable cap, a CalABLE account is 5,000, like 2,029.
Right.
Five
So
hundred
that's the
thousand.
maximum you can contribute is up to $529,000. If you make a withdrawal of 30,000, you can put 30,000 back in, but it's just capped at 529,000. It's going to take a while to get there.
Yeah, indeed. When you say earnings in a special needs trust are taxable, does earnings refer to wages or contributions?
Wages. So if you put wages in your CalABLE account, it's still going to be counted as income. It doesn't mitigate your income. It's just it's a place you can put your earnings in, but it's still going to be counted as income.
My brother is 58 years old and receives SSI and is disabled. He's had MS since he was in his 30s, but did not receive SSI or was qualified as disabled until he was 54. Will I be able to open an ABLE account for him in 2025?
Yes. In 2026, you would be able to. You would just want to make sure you have a letter stating that your brother's disability, started at 30. But yes, absolutely.
Can you roll over I bonds?
I would no, you can only roll over 529 accounts. You would have to you would have to liquidate them, pay the taxes, and then you could redeposit them. So probably not a good idea to do that.
Can you have an investment portfolio in a special needs trust? I got this one. Yes, you absolutely can. So FDIC has zero risk.
Yeah, FDIC is protected up to $250,000. That's it's protected, but if you, I will say it's protected, but if there's fraud, we can't protect it against fraud, but we can protect it if that institution decides to no longer be in business.
Can a person open a CalABLE account and then transfer it to a special needs trust?
I would, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's usually first party. The problem is, it's like an ABLE account is kind of technically a first party trust. So it would have to be transferred into a first party special needs trust. Yeah.
Is there a difference between a prepaid ABLE Visa debit card and a TrueLink card?
ABLE Visa card is just for the ABLE account. I know you mentioned, Michelle, that you guys have TrueLink. I'm not sure how you guys use the TrueLink, but they are able. The ABLE card is just for the ABLE account. I guess the TrueLink card that you guys have would be just for that account. So they're two separate cards.
And then the one thing I would say is that with a special needs trust, we customize which categories are open and closed And my understanding is with the CalABLE TrueLink cards, there's more preset categories.
Right, right. So the authorized legal representative can go when they're setting up these prepaid cards. If somebody has a tendency to always go on Amazon and they're afraid that they may spend $500 on Amazon, they could put a control that says they can only spend $100 on Amazon. Or you know, so there are things that the authorized legal representative can do on the back end. You know, it's just you want the person that has the card to have the financial independence, but you also want you still want the resources to be available for them when they do need them. So it's a way to accomplish both goals of keeping the account safe and available, but also giving the financial independence.
So FDIC is not an investment option.
No, it's really not. It's more like your savings account, like at a bank.
Yeah. If a disabled person inherits property, is it allowed to be in a special needs trust, Michelle?
Yes.
Are the cap limits the same for Social Security retirement benefits when reaching retirement age on SSDI?
SSDI does not have any limits as far as the $2,000 resource limit. That does not apply to SSDI. It's only for anyone who's receiving SSI.
If my disabled son already has a special needs trust and money in the trust can be invested with an annual fee, why open up a CalABLE account?
Without an annual fee.
Oh, without an annual fee.
It really is where we see these being a partner is it gives the person with the CalABLE account really that financial independence. Having the special needs trust, oftentimes you do need to go to the trustee and ask for, you know, permission or have them transfer money out, or, you know, you have to justify why you want to spend the money. With the CalABLE account, that that third party, that person in the middle is not there, and they have that decision. You know, it really depends on the person, depends on the capacity of the person. You may need to have that special needs trustee there, you know, monitoring things. But even as an authorized legal representative, if they are not the trustee, but maybe the authorized legal representative needs access to the funds, and so it's just a way for them to have easier access. A lot of times we see this being used when it comes to rent. Somebody may be living in an apartment that's only it's more than what they would normally receive as a stipend. Maybe there's a gap, and so where we see this happening is the special needs trust will transfer money into the CalABLE account, and then that account is used to pay for any offsets of the rent. So we see it being used that way. Michelle, do you have any other examples of how people may be using their CalABLE account in conjunction with the special needs trust?
If they're a high earner, there's a lot to be said for putting your extra earnings into a CalABLE account.
Okay.
So we did talk about this already, but I heard that the special needs trust will be able to pay for food for the beneficiary. That's the rule change that's happening later this year.
Yeah, that rule change is not coming until October 1st. So until then, if you use a special needs trust to pay for food, you'll be penalized of 1/3 of your federal share of SSI plus $20. So we have to wait until October 1st to make that change.
But this was formerly a big reason to use CalABLE in conjunction with a special needs trust, because the CalABLE account could be used to pay for rent and food without the SSI penalty, which,
Right.
and that's what's going away, the SSI penalty for that. So if the authorized legal representative dies, what is the process for setting up, someone else to be the authorized legal representative?
So basically, if the authorized legal representative dies, then a new authorized legal representative would be appointed. So, it would be basically like a successor authorized legal representative. So what you would need to do is contact CalABLE. You'd have to, basically the account would be frozen. It wouldn't, the authorized legal representative is no longer available. It basically freeze the account, present the death certificate. Yes, this person is no longer there. This is a new person, and then they just get reopened again.
If a person has a CalABLE account and the landlord only accepts checks for payment, how would they use their money to pay rent if they only have a prepaid card?
They can actually reach out to CalABLE and we can actually send a check. And there is no additional fees for checks being mailed.
So earned wages cannot be put into a special needs trust?
I think that they can, but there's some advantages for using the CalABLE account.
For the investment options, do funds in a CalABLE account need to be in only one investment fund? Can they be spread across several funds and accounts, like in Vanguard, Fidelity, or Charles Schwab?
Yes, as long as whatever they select adds up to 100%. So if you did 20% in 5 accounts, then that's 100%, or you could, however you want. And that's something that's kind of unique. You do have that option. What we have seen quite often is a lot of these people, a lot of account holders are first-time savers, so they're not as comfortable, making those choices. So a lot of times they'll start off with FDIC insured just because they're getting used to actually saving money. That's not something that isn't in their normal practice of daily living, right? So it's starting to establish those habits of saving. Once they get comfortable saving money, and once they have an amount that they're comfortable with, then we kind of see that at that point, then they may look at going into some different investment options. If you are only putting not a lot of money in there, you may not be as comfortable investing your money if you don't have a lot of money in your account. So I think the first thing really is just getting in that habit of saving, even if it's, everyone has what they're comfortable with. Some people may be comfortable with putting $5, and that's okay. And maybe somebody else has more disposable income and maybe they put $50. But as that money continues to grow and however you choose to spend it, if you're just starting off the savings habits, then once that money gets to a level that you're comfortable with, you may have like your baseline. I'm always going to have X amount of dollars in my CalABLE account and my FDIC insured. And once I get above that level, I may decide I might want to just do the conservative, because that's, it's a very low risk. And we saw right now that all the portfolios are in the positive. So maybe they take, whatever they're comfortable with. It could be $20. I'm just using this as an example, but then they get, it's a way of building confidence too, and seeing, hey, I can actually see something. So it's really, I think, a great tool for as we start those saving habits. And then once you see that you're able to save, you say, oh, my goal is $100. And I know for me at a time in my life, if I could save $100, that was a big accomplishment for me. So it's really what is their goal and their desire. Once they get there, then they move on. So I think it's just a progression of their financial future.
Thanks. How easy is it to take money out of a special needs trust if there are no issues with the trustee? guess that's Michelle.
Well, it's not a matter of having issues. It's just the trustee has a fiduciary responsibility. So that means the trustee has a duty to make sure the money is being spent prudently and also invested prudently. It's a high level of financial responsibility. So the one big difference between the ABLE accounts and a special needs trust is CalABLE does not have a fiduciary oversight. And special needs trusts do have fiduciary oversight.
I would clarify that if you're talking about disbursements, if you're talking about using the money for the person, that's usually relatively easy, but overseen by a trustee. But if you're talking about taking money out of a special needs trust and putting it somewhere else, you essentially can't do that most of the time because it's irrevocable. Right, Michelle?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, special needs trust, just like CalABLE, no money can ever go directly to the beneficiary. So money has to, money is dispersed for specific expenses or recurring expenses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So CalABLE is not subject to the Medi-Cal recovery if the client dies.
Correct.
And that's if you read the opposite on the website, that's because the Medi-Cal payback does apply to special needs trusts, but not CalABLE.
Only first party, not
Yes,
third.
first party special needs trust, third party special needs trust, and thank you for that correction. And CalABLE, there's no Medi-Cal payback.
This stuff gets very confusing.
It is. And that is it for questions. Thank you all so much. And thank you, Anne, so much for joining us and sharing your expertise.
Well, thank you. It's been a while. I'm so glad we reconnected, and look forward to doing this again. So Michelle, if once a year works for you, if you want us to come out every 6 months, just let us know. We are happy to come out.
And just to mark your calendars, we are having our first ever community resource fair on Sunday, September 8th at Leo Beck Temple on Sepulveda. So I'm hoping either CalABLE can have a table, or for sure we'll at least have the brochures.
Yeah, send me the information, and if we can be there, that would be a great. And I see you want 50 brochures,
Yes.
is what you said. We got it.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Anne, and thank you everybody. Like I said, we will send slides and the recording out to everybody who signed up. So
Okay.
great.
Have a great day. Evening.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.